Hey guys! So today I am going to be telling you guys how my grandmother Teresa died. So it was 2 days after Christmas in 2020. My grandmother was getting out of bed, but when she tried to, she fell out of bed and she broke her left arm. Um, she fell out of bed because she was very old at 86, so she had a weak body. She couldn't really force herself to get up or easily anymore. So my maternal uncles, Richie or Chris or just Chris, um, he or they wanted to know why she was not talking through the phone. Like usually she would talk to her family every day, and when they didn't hear anything from her, either him or both of my uncles came into the house where Grandma lived, and they found her on the floor in pain with the broken left arm. I don't know if she was able to get a phone to call, or that they were wondering why they were not talking to her, why she was not talking to them, and it turns out it's because she was on the floor with a broken arm. So what they did next was that they took her to the hospital to get her arm checked and get a cast. But what they had done terrible, and what they should not have done, was that they took her out of that hospital because she wasn't sick, she was injured. Why was that bad? Because when they took her to another hospital because of her broken arm, she got the COVID from everyone around in the hospital. It was December 2020 to January 2021 where a lot of people were getting COVID, and it was dangerous that time. There was a lot of COVID. COVID was more dangerous at that time. And when she caught the COVID, she was dying because she was 86. When you get a COVID at that age, you would be dying. But if you were my age, you would beat COVID. So I feel bad for people that have gotten COVID. I've never gotten COVID before. I'm not bragging. I still feel bad for the people that did get COVID. But when my mother heard about this, she was crying. She was telling me and Andrew that she was crying that she's got to go to the hospital to see her mother one last time. Um, Now she didn't know that she was gonna die. She thought that she was gonna live, like a possibility that she was gonna live. I think she told me and Andrew that she was gonna leave on. I think she told me and Andrew on January 17th, 2021. She went to, um, I think she went to New York the next day on the 18th. And then, and it was actually on Inauguration Day, Joe Biden's Inauguration Day, on January 20th, 2021, at 4:28 p.m., my grandmother passed away. What Kim told me on the phone call on what she would have been 94 on her birthday on October 3rd, this year. It was recently on October 3rd. She told me that she did see Joe Biden become president at noon. She was actually awake when she saw it. Like she was able to do that literally 4 hours before her death. Um, Now she was born on October 3rd, 1934, and so she would have been 91. She still is 91 in heaven. We were talking on the phone about her birthday, and Kim was telling me that she was gone too soon. Because she didn't die naturally. She died from COVID. She would have been alive today. She would have been alive today because she would have definitely been in her 90s, even though other families have been into their 80s when they died. She would have been around in her 90s and possibly 100. I don't know, but definitely alive in the 90s, but died before hundreds, because they have better health care now. That's how people live longer in the 90s. But what I'm saying is that Kim told me that she had let herself go. She couldn't. Couldn't hold it anymore. Her body just stopped. Like she couldn't hold it anymore. That's how she took her last breath. So my mother was at dinner with my family, eating dinner and stuff. The funeral was like, I think, January 22nd. And then she came back home on January 23rd. It was very tragic what happened to my grandmother. Like, the reason why I want to do this video is because I want people to feel bad over my grandmother and the tragic. Like, I don't want any likes, but I would like to see if there's any likes, to see if anyone would feel bad. I'm not doing this to to glorify her death. I'm just it's just that because when I told somebody on YouTube who was actually having COVID, I said to him that he's not gonna have COVID. My grandmother died from COVID because she was 86, and I think I told him about the broken arm thing. No, but only people were just giving like 3 likes. Nobody was saying sorry for your loss. Nobody was saying I'm sorry to hear that. Nobody had replied to me about any of that. They acted like they did not care about that. She literally had a broken arm, and it stayed that way. She died while having a broken arm, while having COVID. I did not hear anybody else who had that, other than my grandmother. But this will probably hit you guys also. Andrew did not know how she died until the day when Bud died on April 22nd, 2022. Sheila was still working. Like, at that time, she was at a job. She was working at a job until she retired on July 21st, 2023. She came to the house wondering if we were okay because our grandfather Bud died. And so we were talking about what the family members had died, Aunt Maureen, all of that, and Grandma. And when I said to them that, to Sheila and Andrew, that Sheila already knew about that, but I just want to say it anyway. I didn't know that Andrew didn't know. I said that Grandma fell and broke her arm, and by the time she got to the hospital, she caught the COVID, and that's how she died. I said, after I said she caught the COVID, and then it took me a few seconds to say, and that's how she died. That's because, it's just sad. It took me a few seconds to say it, and after I said, and that's how she died, Andrew then looked at us with tears in his eyes, and he was saying, "Is that true?" And then we both said, "Yes." And then Andrew said, "Oh my God, nobody ever told me that. I thought she just died." Yeah, literally. He did not know about this until over a year after her death. Imagine that. Imagine being surprised about that. After you thought that they died old age or something like that, and then it isn't until something like that later when you are surprised how they died. Imagine if some of you guys had have rarely had that before. But anyways, that is it for this video. I hope people feel bad over my grandmother's death, and I hope that this video would help, besides that comment that did not get any replies. So anyways, bye.